You want to see a jump scare? Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. It has been a hot minute since I have recorded any videos. But life update, I'm moving actually, and that means the library has to move with me. So I am going to pack up my books today. I got a bunch of these small boxes so that I could carry them, but I got like 7 of these. So I'm gonna pack everything up today. I thought it would be fun while I was going through all my books to kind of give a smash or pass on whether or not I think you should read them. I have not read all of them, and I'm ashamed. Not really. I mean to read all of them, but I haven't got to them all. So I'm only going to be talking about the books that I have read. If you like fantasy romance or fantasy romance, stick around and let's get to it. So this stack right here is all fantasy. I actually have my romance books up on a shelf over my fireplace. I'm gonna grab those. These are my romance stacks. For those of you wondering, I am moving to Arizona actually with my sister. I'm in Nashville right now. I wonder if there's a certain way I should be packing these. The Kiss Curse, I have not read this, but I read The X-Hex, which is the book before this. They sent me this actually to kind of talk about. I've been waiting for Halloween, so I haven't read this yet. But The X-Hex was a cute little Gilmore Girls witchy inspired romance. If you're into that. So I mean, I would recommend that. Ashamed to say I bought this because of the pretty cover. It might be just going in my new living room as decoration. Here we go. Book Lovers by Emily Henry. I love Emily Henry. Book Lovers was not my favorite of hers, but it was good, and I know a lot of people love this one. I liked that it was from like almost the villain's point of view. The workaholic New Yorker movies that gets left behind for the small town girl. This one is about the girl that gets left behind in New York, and it's her story. People We Meet on Vacation, Emily Henry. This actually was my favorite Emily Henry book so far. I haven't read Happy Place yet, or Beach Read actually. I have Beach Read in here too. But this was my first Emily Henry book, and I loved this one. Weirdly, my sister, she did not like this one as much. Verity. This is the only Colleen Hoover book I have ever read, and probably the only one I will ever read, but I actually do recommend Verity, which I never thought I would say. I mean, it's not scary, I would say, but it's definitely creepy. I read it in like one night. Ooh, Yours Truly. This book is so good. This is one of my favorite romance books of the year. And Part of Your World, same author, both great books. I like Yours Truly better. It reminded me a lot of Divine Rivals because they kind of pass notes back and forth, and I don't know why I like that so much. Maybe it's because I'm a writer. I recommend both of these. Part of Your World is first, and then Yours Truly. Ooh, this one is interesting actually. So it's the Paper Princess series, 3 books, and it's about a girl, and it's a lot like the Inheritance games. I know I keep comparing things. It's a girl who's kind of has like misfortune, like, you know, she's kind of poor, and she gets taken in by a billionaire family. And basically there's 3 boys, I want to say, in this series, maybe 4, maybe that's the Inheritance games. They don't like her because they think she's a gold digger. This is definitely a YA series. Like, I probably would have really liked this a lot more in high school. So if you're younger, I would say read this. If you're older, maybe skip it unless you're kind of in the mood for some fun and easy young adult. It's definitely dramatic. I enjoyed myself, but I wouldn't say it's like critically acclaimed fiction. Sometimes you're just kind of in the mood for something to just fly through. Okay, this series, Chestnut Spring series. I have Reckless, Powerless, and Heartless, but I've read all of them. I just only bought these ones for some reason. Yes, read these. Cowboy romance is normally not my thing. And neither is Single Dad romance. Single Dad book was my favorite one. I don't know why, but there's a new one coming out soon, so you should definitely pick up this series. Good series. I recommend. Love Theoretically. This is by Ali Hazelwood, who wrote The Love Hypothesis, and she has another book before this, and it kind of suffered from like second book syndrome, where it just wasn't great. The Love Hypothesis itself had its faults, but it was a really fun read and it was popular for a reason. Love Theoretically was so good. I think I liked it more than The Love Hypothesis. There was some theoretical science that I already knew in this book, and I was very proud of myself. If you are a science girly, this is your book. Okay, this is getting heavy. I need to make sure I can lift these. When in Rome and Practice Makes Perfect by Sarah Adams. They're both really small books. When in Rome first, and then Practice Makes Perfect. The second book is the main guy's sister, one of his sisters. The main girl is a famous singer from Nashville. Hello. It's like a small town romance. Family just screams like Italian family. Like they're all up in each other's business. It just reminded me of my family. If you want a quick, easy little love story, these were really cute. Oh my god, the last of my romance collection, Love in Other Words. There was a lot of hype around this book, and honestly I expected it to be a little bit better. If you want a guy that's like a huge simp, like she fell but he fell harder, maybe in the fall, that's a good romance. If you're craving romance in the fall, Love in Other Words. Okay. Oh, this is the last book in my stack. The Holy Bible. I'm gonna be honest, I have not read this whole thing. Probably should though. You have to put Jesus in with the smut so he can balance out the scales. Now, first box is done. Why are books so heavy? That's why you should get a Kindle. I don't even have a Kindle. Okay, moving on to the fantasy. Mood lighting. Okay, first up in fantasy is A Court of Mist and Fury. This is in the court of... God, what is the title of the first book? A Court of Thorns and Roses is the first book in this series. I only have this book because I was actually walking around in my neighborhood and it was there for free in like a little like, take these books, I'm getting rid of them, and it's the original cover, which is really hard to get now, and it's in hardback. 100% you should read this. I want to gatekeep this series because it's getting so popular. But this isn't even my favorite of her series, of her books. I think it's a good idea to read this series first before going on to other series like Throne of Glass and Crescent City, all which I think you should read. And if you read one series, I think you should read all of the series. Court of Mist and Fury is the best book in the ACOTAR series, in my opinion. And next up, I have Kingdom of the Wicked, looking for a fall series. It's about an Italian witch. And she basically accidentally summons one of the 7 demons of hell, 7 deadly sins pretty much. She accidentally summons him to solve a murder. The first 2 books in this series are really good and I do recommend them. The last book kind of fell apart for me, not gonna lie. So the series as a whole, yeah, this is a hard one. I would say yes to this series if you're just looking for something fun and spooky. I don't know. Okay, next up is There Will Come a Darkness. I actually haven't finished the rest of the series. There's 2 other books. I've only read the first one, but when I was reading this the first time, I wasn't in a fantasy mood. So I don't know, I just never finished it, and I'm kind of mad at myself. It was good writing, there were multiple point of views, so I really liked that. It was definitely good. I definitely recommend this. I need to finish it myself. These hollow vows, these twisted bonds. I wanted this series to be better than it was. This is a super hyped up series. I would still say yes, but don't fall into all the hype on these, I would say. I think my expectations were too high on these, and I also just felt like the love interest didn't really have a personality. It does have a love triangle, and I didn't think I'd like that part, but I do like that part. It was just another basic YA fantasy for me. If you're new to YA fantasy, I think this could be a really good starting point for you. Quick, easy, only 2 books. If you're not new, you could probably skip it. I haven't read these yet, side note, but I'm really excited to, and I know I'm gonna like them. Okay, this is probably the toughest series for me. They're so pretty. I also spray painted some of them gold on the edge. You can see that in one of my other videos on my channel. A Deadly Education. I really wanted to like the series. It's a dark academia series. Powers, wizards in a school. The school is literally like trying to kill these students. People die. The main girl is like kind of an asshole, and there's this one guy just like simping for her. It fell flat for me somehow. I don't know. I kind of had to force myself through this series. So I'm gonna say no for A Deadly Education. If you guys really liked this series, please comment why down below. I think maybe I just wasn't the target audience for this series. Next up is the Inheritance Games. Book 1 was awesome. Book 2 was great. Book 3 was nah. The ending wasn't for me. I think they could have done better. Definitely think this series is worth it for the first 2 books. So I would say yes on this series. Also, if you really like riddles, and I was saying earlier that this series was like the Palace Princess one. Poor girl lives with a bunch of rich guys in a mansion. Same thing. That's not even like really that fantasy, actually. I don't even think that's a fantasy book. There's no magic or anything. I guess it's a romance, kind of. But that has a love triangle in it too. So if you hate love triangles, beware, forswear. So the Darker Shade of Magic trilogy. Also, I spray painted these. I still haven't read these. This is on my fall TBR this year. I've been meaning to read this series for so long. A Kingdom of Stars and Shadows by Holly Renee. This book was actually sent to me. It's really short. You'll fly through it. I think that's why I wasn't that attached, was because it was so short, and it was pretty like straightforward again. Like I felt like I predicted everything that was gonna happen. Also, like everything the main guy said was just like, it felt so fake and cheesy to me. It was trying too hard to be like one of the hot sexy book boyfriends kind of thing. Maybe I'll read more. I don't want to completely rule it out, but as of now, it's a nah for me. Oh my god, it's so heavy for no reason. Once Upon a Broken Heart. I have not read this yet, but I'm already gonna say yes, go read it, because everybody loves this book so freaking much. I already liked Caraval, and I liked Jax, and everyone's saying that this is better than Caraval, so I'm gonna like it. For the Wolf and For the Throne, I've only read For the Wolf. I have not read For the Throne. One's about the younger sister, one's about the older sister. I'm gonna say no on this one. It wasn't for me. The Woods were kind of like their own character, and I just got bored with the story, to be honest. I don't even think I'm gonna read the second book. I'll probably give this away or like sell this series, so it's gonna be a no for me. The Secret History. This, I'm afraid to give my opinion on. People love this book, like die-hard fans for this book. Again, I don't think I was the target audience for this book. It's really like eclectic. Is that even the right word? It's really eclectic. It's supposed to be like dark academia. Someone dies like in this Latin class. I think it was Latin. I don't know. I feel like a lot of this book could have been cut out, and all the characters suck, and it's just like it's not a happy ending. I'm gonna say no on The Secret History. I still think about this book, so like it definitely like leaves its mark on you, but I didn't like reading it. Like I didn't enjoy reading it when I read it. Please don't crucify me in the comments for saying no to that one. Vengeful, I have not read yet, but I'm currently reading Vicious, which is the first book in this, and Vicious is so good. I'm sure Vengeful will be really good. B. Schwab is a great writer. But yeah, Vicious is really good. I'm reading it right now, so it's over on my bed. But 2 college boys, and they come up with this theory for their class about what they call extraordinaries, or it's people that have had a near-death experience. When they like come back to life, they have like these abilities. And so one of them is doing his research on it, and then it flashes back and forth in the future to where they have these powers. Basically, they're just trying to kill each other. So it's dark. It's not a romance, but I still really like it, which is rare for me. If I'm telling you to read something that has no romance in it, read it. Fairy Born, I have not read yet. Also, if you guys ever just want a tour of all my books, if you just want to see all my books, even the ones I haven't read, let me know in the comments, and I can do like a bookshelf tour when I move. Whew, we made it through 2 stacks. Crooked Kingdom. I need you to listen to me. Listen to me. This is the second book in the Six of Crows duology, and if I tell you to read one thing, and one thing only, it is the Six of Crows duology. This is probably my favorite book duology of all time. It is my favorite book duology of all time. My favorite book series of all time is Throne of Glass. I do not own it. If there is a hill I will die on, is that everybody needs to read Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom. Thank you. Bone Crier's Moon. Look how pretty this cover is, by the way. That's like half the reason I bought it. I actually did a little fun thing with my best friend, and we each picked out a series that we wanted to read and started reading the first book. We both annotated in a different color and then switched and did the other book. So it was really cool because as you were reading, you could see the other person's annotations. I think that's why I really liked reading this book. And then yes, we gave our thoughts at the end, if you can see that. I remember this first book was good. I liked the romance element of it. I was gonna go on to read the second book, which is Bonecryer's Dawn. But I was reading all these reviews about like the author randomly shoving a love triangle in there, and it made me not want to read the second book. So I stopped after the first book. It was a good little young adult, enemies to lovers kind of fantasy. It was something that I've never seen before, where they take certain powers from animals. So like if she wanted to be like fast, she would go kill a jaguar and like wear its bones, and then that would give her that ability. It was just something new that I had not read yet. So I appreciated that in this series. I would say yes. But again, I feel like I can't pass complete judgment because I didn't even read the second book. Oh, speaking of, apparently I own Bonecryer's Dawn. I didn't even know I owned the second book. Maybe I will finish it then. Of all the books I've been sent, Thief of Sorrows actually did catch my interest. It just sounded really good. I read Robin Hood, like she's the hood kind of thing. But yeah, just giving that one a little shout out, even though I haven't read it yet. If you guys have read Thief of Sorrows by Kristen M. Long, let me know what you think. I got a lot of books in this box. I'm actually really proud of myself. Actually, why am I packing Vicious when I'm gonna read it next? Damn it, it's all the way at the bottom. I'm gonna have to get it. That was stupid on my part, and I packed this box so good. No. Got it. Atlas 6. Also, this is the original cover, and I will keep this until I die. Atlas 6. Yes, this is what I wanted Deadly Education to be. Multiple point of views, and they're in this school, and all these people have powers and abilities, but one of them will not make it. I don't want to reveal too much about this book. I know that there's a new edition of the first book. I know it changed like one of the characters a little bit, and it changed some things for the second book. I haven't read the Atlas Paradox yet because I have to read the new edition of the Atlas 6. This is my copy of Six of Crows, and it's high-key tragic. Six of Crows is the first book I ever bought. I lost the dust jacket because I'm a psychopath, and it's just so beat up, and I think I'm gonna get the collector's edition because again, there's one book that you read from this whole video, it should be Six of Crows. The Bronze Beast is the third book in the Gilded Wolves trilogy. I have the other two in paperback, that's why they're not together. I feel like a little bit of a broken record because I keep saying yes to the first two, but the third wasn't very good. I would still recommend this entire series. I really like heist books. I didn't like how it ended, pretty much, but I still recommend it. Do with that what you will. I just read this book. Look how beautiful this is too. Like, are you joking? Wait for it. So happy I got the exclusive edition. This is a romance book for fantasy girlies. You are a fantasy girly and you still want a cute little romance. This is a romance, but it's got a little fantasy thrown in. They have magic typewriters they write back and forth. It's kind of like 40s, 50s vibes. Like there's a war going on and they work at a newspaper and they're work rivals and they don't know that they're the ones messaging each other back and forth on these typewriters. This was such a good book. Great writing, great writing. Okay, side note, I have not read One Dark Window yet, but the next book's coming out like next month, and I have heard nothing but like amazing things about this. This, Divine Rivals, and like Fourth Wing, everyone is saying is like the books of the year, and it's a little spooky apparently. So I've been waiting for fall to read this, so this might be one of my next reads. This one is also very popular, but I'm straying from the point of this video. Almost an entire box of books I haven't read. For any fanfic girls out there, I'm starting Manacled, and I've never been more afraid of anything in my life. I read like the first chapter, and it's already really depressing. I've just seen videos of people sobbing after they finish Manacled. I'm quite scared. This one's even heavier. It's like all hardbacks in this one. Aha! Fourth Wing, you knew this was coming. Yes, of course, you should read Fourth Wing. I will not be the first person to hype this up, and I will not be the last person to hype this up. It was a beautifully written first book of what I'm assuming is going to be a great fantasy series. This is a great first book for someone that wants to get into fantasy. It was a little predictable at times. Saw the plot twist coming at the end from the first couple chapters. I do think that there are a lot of things coming from this book and this series that are gonna shock me a lot. It's kind of giving Nobody Safe based on like how often people I think are going to die in this series. I just got a collector's edition from Etsy and I'm actually really excited. Could you imagine if you were watching this video and my hair just like caught on fire? The way I haven't read any of these, I thought I'd have more to talk about. Ooh, okay, these 2 books. The first book is called Ember in the Ashes, and there are 4 books in this series, and I 100% recommend this series. First book, oh, I remember it was so good. I was so obsessed with it. Basically, it's about a slave girl named Leia, and then it's about another guy named Elias. They're this training camp, and he's training to be like basically this like assassin type person who's like super deadly, and she is undercover for the rebels. I recommend it for sure. Last box. I'm happy to say that this last stack, I actually have read every book in the stack. Ha! Ooh mama, the biggest book I own. I think this is roughly the size of Manacled if it was in book form. Prairie of the Orange Tree. This is high fantasy, sapphic, if you like that. People love this book. I did not love it. I don't know, it was so long and then the ending was so rushed. It either could have been 2 books or they could have taken the time on the ending a little more, like it was all this build up, or like it's kind of like Game of Thrones, like the TV show, like all that build up for that last season that was just absolutely horrible. Great writing though. I know there's a 2nd book that just came out. I don't think I'm gonna give it a shot. I wanted to like this one so bad. A Court of Silver Flames is a part of the A Court of Thorns and Roses whole thing. I already recommend that whole series, so yes, of course. Okay, Crescent City. If you have read A Court of Thorns and Roses and you have read Throne of Glass, then you may read this series, but only after you have read the other series. I'm sorry, I don't make the rules, but you have to read them like that, and I will not explain why. Otherwise, don't even think about it, baby. Ooh, this one's so interesting. Okay, so 7 Realms series. I actually found this whole series at a thrift store and bought it, but I remember really liking this series. If I remember correctly, one of the guys was like a thief, and then the other girl is a princess of a queendom. And I remember there's one book in here where it's kind of like she's the man, where she dresses up as a boy at school, and I just loved that so much. Renegades. This is also a great series. It is superhero based. There's superheroes and there's villains in this like futuristic world, and we follow the girl that is the villain and the boy that is the hero, and they each have secret identities within their secret identities. It's so good and it's hard to explain. It's young adult, so don't be expecting anything spicy. Daughter of the Pirate King and Daughter of the Siren Queen. I'm so glad I got these covers because I hate the new covers. These are short and sweet and just a cute little pirate romance. It's not gonna rock your world or anything. It does what it's gotta do. I loved this series. Finally, there are no saints and there is no devil. I bought these for the covers and I'm not ashamed to say it. I've read the first book. It was interesting. Basically, there's a male serial killer competing with another male serial killer in the same area, and this girl accidentally ends up in the middle of it, and it is spicy. So if you want a spicy series, they do get down and dirty. I would say I recommend it if you're into dark romance. So this is a romance series, don't get me wrong. This is not fantasy. Well, that is all my books, at least for now. I think I have more books coming in the mail, actually. I know I have my Fairy Loot subscription. Let me know what other book-related videos you want to see in the future. That is all. Love you guys. Peace out.